Oh,
Okay, so we're going live. Welcome everyone, Kim and Corin. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Yeah, sorry, Kim. Did you have a question?
yeah, I'm just looking at Karen's study
Mm-hmm.
to your right and to my left, that picture. Did you do that?
I didn't actually. It's a picture that a Reiki master and healer did of me after I was there, and she could just see, well, I could see Isis, and then she got the image and she offered to do the painting. It was my master teacher and healer for a time, so it's got a
Okay.
very prominent
Nice.
place in my study. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is. It's
Hmm.
lovely.
And then I was just actually putting some water in these two plants. It's a very rare type of orchid that I've been propagating for 10 years. And I give it to like friends and family. And I gave it to my two friends who I went to a memorial today. I gave it to them and they said that it's beautiful memory of life of their mother. And it creates this beautiful, very rare, like almost cream color and purple little flower orchid. It's beautiful. And you actually
Hmm.
just take like this one, put up the stem, and then plant it down, and that's how you propagate it. And I got one
Okay.
little plant like 10 years ago, and I think I might have given about 50 gifts of it. So it's very special.
Wow, the gift that keeps on giving.
Wow. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I must take that one back to the hothouse and grow babies from that one there.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice.
And if you're wondering
Symbolic.
what happened to my arm, my
Oh
Bengal
wow.
launched again.
That was the cat.
Yeah, that was the latest one. And
Right.
the
Oh,
last time he did something similar to this, his claws were clean because he had a broken leg and he'd been inside for 8 weeks. This time he'd been playing in the garden in the mud. So I've put
Yeah.
like proper hydrogen peroxide and
Hmm.
Savlon and everything.
Savage
Colloidal
like
silk.
tiger.
Yes, he is.
Savage.
He launched himself. He gripped my arm. I don't know if you can see the blue here with his
A little
teeth
bit.
here, and then he kicked.
Yeah.
Just ripped.
wow.
Oh.
Feisty cat.
Yeah.
Sure. Very
Anyway, you can edit
feisty.
that out of the recording if you want. He is
That's okay.
gorgeous. He's like so soft and cuddly, and he'll ride on my arm, going like soft as anything. And then out comes the tiger in him. But it's the
Nailed.
closest relative of actually the closest relative of a wildcat.
Right.
Yeah. I'm
So
cooking a bit, so I'm going to put my video off and my thing on mute and go and get a fan from the bedroom quickly.
okay, no problem. We'll just carry on. So I wanted to just talk about briefly about how to stay conscious in adversity. That was sort of the theme today. So Karen's mentioned adversity. Two of her friends have passed away. She's having issues with her business partner again, with
Mm.
work. Just had a new job. So and challenges are just part of life in this
Mm.
in this world. I don't think anyone's uh, not being challenged. Speak to anyone, they're like, yeah, I've got some challenges in my life. It's just
Yeah.
an inevitable part of life here. So that's how we deal with them. I'm waiting. I was sharing. I'm waiting for a decision on a visa. Okay, I'm waiting.
Yes.
Just and I've got no clarity until that happens. So I could be like, well, why hasn't happened? It's been 3 weeks. What's happening? I want to be back in 2 weeks for my
Yeah.
son's birthday, and you got to just really watch the mind because you've got to let go of those expectations. It really came home to me this last week that expectation is the source of all suffering, as the Buddha noted 2,500 years ago. We expect things to happen. It's only our expectation that creates the suffering. If you really think about it, what creates the suffering? It's your own mind's perception of it. Your interpretation of that creates the suffering. Oh, it shouldn't be what it is. It shouldn't be how it is. It should be something different. That's expectation, isn't it? And then a resistance arises, and you're like, oh no, and I'm not happy with the situation as it is because it should be this way. And then you suffer. And it's subtle often. But if you tune in to your mental and emotional state, you notice that you're actually creating suffering for yourself. So the practice is just to really observe that. Say, okay, let me just notice when I'm doing this. Oh, if you're thinking a thought, well, it should have worked out differently. It should have been different. We did this. Is this the right thing? It creates a mental and emotional suffering on a level, doesn't it? Because then you're not perfectly happy, equanimous. It's just, oh, now there's something coming in that's not right in your mind. You go, did I make the right decision? You question yourself. There's maybe a resistance to what's happening, even if it's a subtle one. There's not just an open, free-flowing, expansive awareness. It's like, oh, there's something now in your mind that's just there, creating what we'd call suffering. And you have to see that it's self-created. We really do it to ourselves. No one else is doing it to us. It's our own interpretation of and perception of the situation. That's the problem. Always. Situation is as it is. How do you interpret it? Well, that's the problem. If you interpret it in a way that creates suffering for you, then it's a false interpretation. This is what the Buddha and Jesus in the Course are trying to teach us. And it's false. It's coming from the ego. And it's only your perception. It's not true. It's just how your mind chooses to interpret that situation. So that's the problem. It's not the situation. The situation is as it is. But it's your perception of it. And then so people can say, well, what happens if we just did that? We'd never change anything. But ironically, if you stay locked in the misperception, then that actually keeps you in that situation more. The ego has a great investment in keeping that problem then in your life so that you can keep that pattern of thought and then behavior going. So it likes challenge, it likes problems. That's why it's invented them. It likes them because now we dwell on them, and it takes our mind away from source. It takes our mind into the world, into the domain of time and space, and not into that pure formless awareness, which is eternal. It keeps us away from it. And so as long as it's doing that, then the situation has a use in the ego's judgment. And so it actually has an investment in keeping these problems so that we can keep our minds busy trying to solve them with the ego, which is about expectation, desire, resistance, or aversion, as the Buddha called it. All of these movements of the mind, and that really solves nothing. So how to face these challenges is you've always just got to go, okay, so what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's my perception of this? And if I'm not happy, then I need to change my perception. That's always the answer. The problem is, as David Hoffman says, the problem you have is a perceptual problem. It's not a problem with the outside world. It's not a circumstantial problem. It's not someone else's problem. It's not caused by anything external to you. The problem you have is a perceptual problem. That you misperceive the situation through a darkened glass, as Jesus calls it, through the lens of the ego. You misperceive, then it creates suffering for yourself and others. That's the problem. Once you see it, okay, the problem is only my perception. That's the problem. Okay, well, I can change that, because you can change your perception like this. Perception is totally under your control. So that's really the empowering thing about these teachings. Like, yeah, you can change your perception in an instant. It may not seem to be instantaneous because our ego is sticky and it can seem to take time, but you can actually drop that perception and you can open to another perception in seconds, in an instant, really. And that's really to lead into, the Course in today's lesson. That's what it's all about. These lessons are like, okay, just change your perception. Each lesson is an opportunity to shift your perception of a situation, because he's asking us to apply it to particular situations as they arise in the day. So take the lesson, apply it to the situation, and use it to shift your perception. And if you keep doing that, then by degrees, you might not feel like, oh, wow, it was amazing, I've had a total. But by degrees, you're moving away from the ego. It's like the Titanic, going towards the iceberg. You're just moving it. It turns slowly, so degree by degree by degree. And if you keep doing that, then you can miss these icebergs. You don't need to hit an iceberg and create a major drama in your life, because you're just correcting your perception moment by moment, situation by situation, challenge by challenge. And then the major crises don't really need to come, because you're learning your lessons from just everyday stuff, everyday challenges we're all facing. And you're using those for what they're for, which is perception correction, to clean your mind of the ego's thought system that's misperceiving all the time. And that's what this practice is all about. Just correct your perception. Whenever misperceptions arise, you notice them, you use the lesson to correct it. And then you can be free of it. And if it comes back, then you do it again. And then the next day, you've got another lesson to do it again. So it's just this ongoing process of mind training all the time, using your life situations to help you to correct the fundamental perceptual problem we all have here. Because fundamentally, we misperceive. We perceive a world outside of ourselves. And Jesus is saying this is a misperception. There is no world outside of you. You are not a body. This external world is a projection of your mind, and it doesn't really exist. So therefore, you misperceive everything. From the body's eyes, the sense perceptions, fundamentally you misperceive. And you give it a reality it doesn't have. And so it's to clean that out of our minds. That's the purpose of our lives. And you just do it step by step, moment by moment, correcting your perceptions as they arise. And if a challenge comes along, then that's perfect mind training, because the challenge then triggers the misperceptions, they arise. And then you have to face them and let them go. Does that resonate and make sense?
Yes, it does for me.
Good. And I mean, it's simple. Like I say this, and you go, yeah, okay, yeah. But to do it day by day, moment by moment, this is the practice. Okay, I'm not making exceptions here. Whatever it is, I notice if I notice that there's something that's not love there, that's suffering on some level, even a minor, like I'm just not feeling quite right about that. There's a little bit of doubt, fear creeps in, maybe a little bit of irritation, these kinds of things. Jesus says, pay attention to these, because they're the tip of the iceberg, to use the iceberg analogy again in a different way. They're the tip of the iceberg. And so beneath the iceberg of that little bit of irritation is the ego's whole thought system. So don't just dismiss it lightly, oh, well, that doesn't matter. No, it does, because it's representative of this great block that's sitting below the surface of your subconscious mind, that's blocking your awareness of the truth. And so these little minor irritations and annoyances and grievances that are so much part of most people's lives, this is the mind training food. You bring it up into awareness. Okay, well, I'm noticing that, so I need to correct my perception of that. It's not correct. It's creating something that's not love, that's suffering. So I need to correct it. And then using the Course in Miracles and the tools that you're getting in the Art of Letting Go, you can do that. Practice a breath break and do a little letting go in a few minutes, just to release it, and then do it again. That's why I'm saying, do regular practice. So do it multiple times a day, because each time you're just doing a little bit more correction of that fundamental problem, which is that you misperceive everything. You have a perceptual problem. We perceive everything from a separated point of view as seemingly individuals with bodies looking into a world, an external world that's seemingly real. That is a fundamental perceptual problem that everyone on this planet shares, pretty much. Unless you've gone, into a fully enlightened state, everyone has that problem. And this mind training is the correction to it. Now, I don't really know any other way. And there are obviously many paths, but this path makes a lot of sense to me because, practically speaking, yes, we're living our lives. These situations, challenges crop up all the time. So this path is saying, well, don't run away from those. In fact, embrace those. Those are exactly what you need to correct your fundamental misperception based on your ego, to undo your ego. So life is there for your awakening. Life is there as a forgiveness lesson. That's what it's there for. So accept that that's what it's there for. It's not designed to make you happy. It's designed to challenge you, so you have to forgive or let go of your misperceptions. And then in the process, you let go of your ego, because what's creating the misperceptions is the ego. And that's a very different perspective. Now, Eckhart Tolle, so I sent out a video by him. He says, if you think that life is meant to make you happy, then you're going to be disappointed, because it's not meant to make you happy. It's meant to challenge you. Right? This is the ego's framework. The ego created this world to perpetuate itself. That's why this world was made up, to perpetuate a false identity. So it's designed to create these misperceptions, to trigger these misperceptions, to perpetuate the ego's thought system. So it's designed to challenge you, in other words. It's not designed to make you happy. Heaven is designed to make you happy, but heaven is not this world. So when you see that, that, okay, this is what it is, and that's not going to change. Yes, it's always going to challenge me as long as I'm seemingly here in human form. But what I can do is I can always correct my perception of any situation. That becomes very empowering, because you're not trying to make it into something that it's not. The world should make me happy. Well, it still hasn't. And, we're all in our 40s and 50s now, 40s. So clearly, maybe that's not a realistic expectation. The world is not designed to make you happy. Okay, if I can accept that, this is, I think, the true meaning of acceptance in spiritual terms. If I can really accept that, then I accept, okay, well, what the remedy for this is correcting my perception. It's not outside. I'm not looking for anything external to me. I'm correcting my perception. And that's my job, moment by moment, continuously. And that's exactly what this path is about, correcting your perception moment by moment, day by day, using these simple mind training lessons. So any questions on that? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's just
To do it, to actually apply it, is the work.
remembering to sort of remember.
Remembering to remember, Well, that's why, the lessons are critical. If you can just get into the habit of doing them, each time you do a lesson, even if just for 30 seconds, and you just remember it briefly, then it's a remembering to remember. You're remembering in that moment the truth. And so that's why he's saying, well, do this multiple times. Today's lesson is saying do 4 times in a 3 to 5 minute practice period, and then frequently during the day, just remind yourself for a few seconds. So, if you incorporate it into your day, and you're just dropping these reminders in, it's just continuous mind training. You are learning this thought system, and you're doing it by constant repetition, reminders, because that's the way we learn. And saying, look, I'm applying this to everything that's happening. So today's lesson, let's share my screen actually. Okay, so let's have a little look at the lesson and the quote. Okay, so the quote, Kim, you want to read the quote for us? Can you see the screen?
Okay. Do not be afraid to be holy. Have the courage. Yeah. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, it's just,
Do
I
not
think your bandwidth
be
is.
afraid to be holy.
Hmm? Can hear you, yeah.
Breaking up. Okay.
It's okay now, yeah.
Do not be afraid to be holy. Have the courage and humility to present yourselves to the world, determined to be holy, since full, true freedom is born from holiness.
That was a Pope, Pope John Paul II, who said that. Interesting. Shows you the truth is everywhere, even in the Catholic Church. Full true freedom is born from holiness. So what does he mean by holiness? What do you understand by holiness?
You're whole and one with God.
Yeah, and remember, in our terminology, God is pure formless awareness. So holiness is that awareness, pure formless awareness, not aware of form, not attached to form. Means there's no expectations, there's no judgments. This is what he actually means, whether he knew exactly what that means, what holiness means, because it's not a common word. You won't find holiness in common press media. One of those words that's not used. Occasionally, I've seen it once or twice when they say His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and they use it as a title. And that's sometimes, but they'll never say, "Oh well, this is a very holy situation," or just it's a word that is not commonly used. So most people don't really understand what it means. Holy. Okay, what? So does that mean I'm kind of praying all the time? Does that mean I'm some kind of holy man in India who's painting myself with all kinds of colors and just like sitting stoned most of the time? What does it actually mean? And in Course in Miracles terms, which is our spiritual path, it means going into this awareness, this pure formless awareness, and staying rooted in that awareness in your daily life. No matter what's happening, you can still stay in that awareness. And so you're still perceiving because you're in the domain of perception, but that awareness is now behind your perceptions. That clean, pure awareness is governing your perceptions. That's the underlying basis of them. So now you're correcting all misperceptions, because in that holiness, none of those perceptions are valid. None of them really exist. So you let go of your mind's preoccupation with them or attachment to them, and you find a state of openness and calmness and peace as you deal with these challenges. And that process is the miracle. That process of just correcting your perception. Oh, I'm feeling a bit turbulated by the situation, and now I'm able to just let it go and find a sense of equanimity, to use a Buddhist term. I'm just equanimous. I look at it and, oh, okay. I don't have expectation. I don't have desire. I don't have aversion. There's not a strong emotion. I'm just equanimous with it. Now, from that state, the interesting thing is your decisions are going to be much better because your perception is accurate. So whatever comes through into your mind in terms of a decision about what to do in the situation is going to be much more accurate than if you are misperceiving from the ego, desire and fear. So it's not about doing nothing. It's about being clear in your perception so that your decisions are not wrong. You're wrong. Your perceptions are wrong if you in the ego's thought system. Opening your mind to this spirit, we call it, the Holy Spirit, right? It's the awareness of this pure formless awareness. That's what the Holy Spirit is. It's an awareness that remains in your mind, a remembrance of that. And as you remember it more and more, you have more and more awareness of it. So now the Holy Spirit, the awareness of oneness, connects you more and more with the oneness and with this pure formless awareness. And so that arises more and more in your mind. And now that starts to make the decisions. That starts to perceive things differently, starts to make the decisions for you, rather than allowing the ego. Because there's only two thought systems that Jesus is saying. It's one or the other. You're either going to be in the ego, misperceiving through the body's eyes, making it all real, making yourself real, and that creates suffering. Or you're going to go into the pure formless awareness and remind yourself that no, none of it's real. And actually what's real is this awareness. And I will maintain this awareness through all of these apparent challenges. And then be guided in the way I perceive them, in the way what I decide to do. So my thoughts, my words, my actions, all guided from pure formless awareness. And that's what this is about. This whole path. What's actually behind it all. So that quote leads quite nicely into today's lesson. There's Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you watched that, but it's worth watching that talk. Talks about, it was recorded I think a year ago in COVID, or maybe even 2 years ago, I think a year ago in COVID, and talking about challenges and how do you stay conscious in the face of adversity. Well, by conscious he means how do you stay in your the remembrance of your true awareness, remembrance of oneness, the Holy Spirit. That's what he means. Conscious of what? Conscious of your true awareness. Aware of your awareness in the face of adversity. And that's really what forgiveness is. That's what this whole practice is designed to teach you. That you only need to forgive when there's apparent adversity. So use it as part of your mind training. Okay, so should we have a little look at the lesson then?
Something crossed my mind. So I mean, this is also around like letting go and flow, and it's not in action. So, and now I've lost it.
Okay.
I mean, what you're letting go is, well, what we could probably at least perceive as letting go of that. Based on that thought, you have that emotion, and I mean, talk about that instrument of peace, and then it goes to belief, etc., etc. But maybe at least you're trying to let go of the emotions, because that's the feeling, that's the turbulent feeling. And then with letting go,
you want to let go of all of it, really.
So but I mean,
at every level.
The time, like what you're perceiving at the time is letting go of the emotion, and then what you're saying is, based on that, you change your state where you can be more clear and make be called a more accurate decision.
Yeah. You're letting go of thoughts, you're letting go of beliefs, you're letting go of emotions. It's all part of it. Let me I'll actually bring that up, because I don't think Karen didn't do that session. So we'll just have a quick look at it. And there's Elaine. It's funny, I just thought about her a minute ago, and she pops in. Okay, so where are we? Instrument for peace. There we go. So there's the diagram. Hi Elaine, how are you?
Hi Elaine.
Hi.
That's funny. I just thought about you a minute ago.
I'm not. Can hear you, but I can't. There you go. There you are. Hi, Kim.
Welcome.
How are you?
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Yeah,
Kim,
and you too. How are you
Kim,
doing? Are you settling there?
I still have to find a place, started looking, but yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been good. Carrying on. Thank you.
Can only be a good move from Joburg to Cape Town, really.
well, some challenges arising, so we're just talking about how to deal with those.
Challenges. Well, there always challenges. Hey,
Mm. Yeah, well,
always. Yeah.
I don't know if you listened to Eckhart Tolle's talk, but
I did.
saying life is meant to challenge us. It's not
Yeah,
actually
and he was
designed to make
saying,
us happy.
yeah, and he was saying this is this time of discomfort and yeah, like really, what was the word he used? Just kind of, he was saying when you pushed out of your comfort zone completely. So that's your opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
There's your chance.
Yeah.
Or you can make other choices as well.
Well, there's two ways you can go. You're either going to go the ego's way, which is, this is terrible, it's a disaster. How could this be happening? Why is it happening to me?
Why me,
blah,
Lord?
blah, blah. You tell yourself a whole story. You confirm you're a victim of the situation, and the ego juices that for all its worth. And you tell everyone, oh no, that's just so terrible. Just awful. Blah, blah, blah. Or you go, okay, so
what
this
can
is
I
an
do
opportunity to correct my fundamental problem, and my fundamental problem is perception. I have a fundamental perceptual problem. I misperceive everything. That's my problem.
I'm so starting to get that, eh?
See that?
I really am.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful when you do, because you go, it's not the external world needs to change. I just need to change. I just need to change my mind. That's what I need to do. For the world to change, I need to change my mind. Well, I can do that anytime I want. It's very easy, actually. So, well, easy and not easy. It's simple. Principle simple. Yeah, I can just change my mind. Let me change my perception about the situation. But the difficulty is we've got these layers, as we were discussing. Did you do this? I'm not sure if you did this session with us, Elaine. We did a whole session on this levels of mind diagram. This is from David Hoffmeister and the Living Miracles community, and they put together this based on the levels of mind. You can do a little exercise. So let's. Kim, why don't, if you're open to it, why don't we run this through quickly through this process?
Yeah, I was even going to suggest that to you, Kim, is that, just from the work that I know, Byron Katie, where she points out, look, there are at least 2 or 3 other possibilities besides what's going on in your mind that can be at least equally true. It's a fascinating exercise. And yeah, so that we actually see that we do have a choice, because it's very easy to talk about it, hey, when you're not in the crisis yourself, because I can see how distressed you are, Kim. And it's so easy on the outside, when you've got all this, that's that, but we need to get into the habit of actually standing outside the situation. First of all, identifying it, okay, like this is, it's not a happy scenario, but I can view it differently. Let me catch myself in this moment and say, well, you know what, I can view it differently. But so let's see what you've got here, because it seems like this is what it's about.
Yeah. So if you're open to it, Kim, I'll do the thing with you quickly. This.
Yeah, not if it's okay, not
today. Okay. So
sorry. Thanks.
For example, would anyone like to give me an example, or shall I come up with it?
When I think about,
so a challenge in your life, right? Think about a situation, something arising, challenge in my life, and then you just run it through the process, and at the end of it, you come out with a changed perception, which is the miracle.
Yeah.
Because it works you through these levels of emotion. So it's perception at the top level, then emotion underneath that, then there's a thought, underneath that there's belief.
Yeah.
And beyond belief, you start getting into your core. There's your core essence, pure formless awareness is beyond belief.
Mm.
So you can go
It's
there,
like that.
strip away all of
Yeah.
those, and then all of the pure formless awareness now
Speaks
starts
for you.
directing your beliefs and your thoughts and your emotions and your perceptions. So instead of outside in, which is how most people live their lives.
Inside,
Oh, okay.
inside out.
Perception, something happens, I perceive it, I misperceive it. So then that triggers an emotion. So now I'm upset, I'm angry, whatever it is. That triggers a thought. Oh, this always happens to me. Why does this happen to me? Why is this? Again, I'm being victimized. Again, I'm being hardly done by. I'm being unfairly treated by someone or by life. See how it all goes. Okay, so that confirms my belief that I'm actually a victim of the world, and that I am a separate individual who's actually very much alone and facing all these enormous odds in this, pretty scary place. And so that confirms my ego's belief that I'm a separate person. And so you've got to look at all of that, which is exactly what this exercise is designed to do, and take you through the levels, and then go, okay, but beyond all of this is all mind stuff, right? Perceptions, mind stuff, emotion. Okay, it feels like a feeling, but it's still happening in mind. My thoughts about myself, my belief about myself. But what I really want, they say desire or prayer, is the true desire of the heart is for peace. You want peace. So I called the instrument for peace. So then you say, well, look, actually, beyond all of this, what my true desire is just for peace of mind in the situation.
And if you can get yourself there when you're in a state, it becomes a miracle.
Yeah,
that
shift. If you can move through this stuff and you can shift into.
God, like 5 minutes ago, I was like, oh my God, and now I see it differently. Yeah. So you know what, Ken? You've gotten to this. You've actually brought yourself here. Hey, you've logged in. You hear. Yeah. There's only one way, and that's to do the work. And that's what I've realized for me. The shift has come through the exercises, because otherwise it's just theory in your mind. You can listen to Eckhart Tolle. He's lovely to listen to. Very nice. I love him. He's like a tranquilizer for me, and many other people. Really, it's like a tranquilizer. It's like in what I really should listen to this, and I really should, and I could if I did. But it's only get down to the nitty gritty of doing the work. Which these exercises are.
Well, that's the miracle. The miracle is the application of these principles into your life, into situations. And if you do that and you get a shift in your perception, then there's a miracle. And no one sees it. It's not anything phenomenal, but in your mind, okay, yeah, the shift's taken place.
No, it's like you helped me with that. You remember that decision-making exercise we did with my son, who came as an addict, and I had drama with him for the last 10, 12 years of my life, okay? And I'm always in this predicament and this dilemma, where to help, what to help, if to help, blah, blah. Yeah. And you kind of took me to, and I progressed really to a point where I started to understand tough love, and that sort of thing. It's been a process, but I feel after that exercise, I really made a decision. And after it was so clear why I made that decision, how I made that decision, the process that led me there, and that I felt confident in it. Like I feel less wavering now to make my decision, and I'm less wavering because of that process, because I know it came from my higher self.
Yeah, so that's the advantage of using a process, because it takes you through, cuts through all of the ego's BS, basically, all of the uncertainty and the doubts, and like, am I getting it right? And it goes, okay, so let's be very clear. There's a thought system behind this. This is the Holy Spirit's thought system, and we're going to apply this in the situation. We do it very progressively and systematically. And then, just like anything in life, you go through it in that kind of disciplined, ordered way, you get some certainty. It's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And in your mind, you go, yeah, that does make sense, and I know why I've made that decision. and it's based on truth, and it feels right, and it resonates, and so I'll stick with it because it's the right decision. But if you haven't been through a process, you know, like the one we did, or this process, there's
Then you
many
jump
ways
around
of
because
doing
you
it.
question it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, then there's no certainty. The ego's still very much there, and then you
One needs
vacillate.
that certainty.
Oh, I could do this, but oh no, you can do this.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
this whole process, you know, this mind training is getting very, very clear in your mind which thought system you actually believe in. That's what this is about. What do you actually believe in? Because unless you've gone through something like this and you've gone through these layers, you don't actually really know what you believe in. Most people are dealing at the perceptual level, right? They are skating on the surface of life. Oh, stuff happens. It triggers me. Then I have a perception. I don't really understand why I have that perception. It's just, well, the obvious thing is to blame the external world. Oh, it's the person or the thing.
It's just the way it is.
Well, of course I'm going to be upset. This person.
That's what it is. Of course it's like that. I mean, it's
of course
obvious.
it's like that.
That's what it is.
So we take it on face value. Oh, well, I'm upset because of this situation. But unfortunately, if you're in that pattern, you'll notice that then you get upset a lot. There's always something to upset you. So this teaching is saying, well, you've got to start looking at the pattern here. Like there's always something externally that's upsetting and disturbing your peace. So why is that? Surely there's a pattern here. Maybe things are not as they appear to be. Maybe you can't just say, oh, well, it's because of that situation or this person, or it's not specific. It's a much more general problem. As I was saying before you came on the call, it's a perceptual problem we have. This is what David Hoffmeister, well, Jesus in the course, but David Hoffmeister, some of his talks says, you know, we have to accept we have one problem here, and that is a perceptual problem. We misperceive everything. Why do we misperceive it?
Because we have no neutral thoughts.
Yeah, because we have underlying beliefs. Underneath perception lies emotion. Okay, so actually I have a lot of anger, maybe. I have a lot of fear, guilt, you know, all these deep emotions. That underlies the perception. But I'm not even aware of that. It's happening in the subconscious. And then underlying that, I have thought. Oh, I have thoughts about myself. You know what? I'm really not good enough. I'm a victim of the world.
And about other people as well. They did.
Yeah, well, that's also a domain of thought. Oh, they did that to me.
Yeah.
And so then you get to core belief, which is actually what I really believe about myself. Oh, I actually believe I'm a victim of the world. I believe I'm not good enough. I believe I deserve to be punished on some level. See, now we're getting down to your core belief. And that's where you have to go with this. Because if you don't get down to core belief, then that belief remains intact. You haven't questioned it. You haven't brought it up into any kind of awareness. And then beyond core belief says the desire or the prayer, and that's the prayer of the heart. That's I just want peace. Really, beyond core belief, you strip everything away, lies true awareness, lies your pure formless awareness, or the Holy Spirit. To say, well, really, what do you want out of the situation? You want peace. You want to be at peace. You want to be calm. You don't want to be reactive to this. You want to be peaceful and happy and able to just kind of flow with this and be okay with it. Okay, so that's your prayer of the heart. By going through this exercise, you strip everything down to that. You see all of these levels: perception, emotion, thought, belief. You strip it all down, and then you look at all these again from this perspective. The perspective of the Holy Spirit, or your higher awareness, says, well, you know, really that belief that's actually causing the perception is not true. Perception is not being caused by anything external to you.
It's being caused by your belief.
Caused by your belief. That's the realization of the miracle.
Which brings about a thought.
Thought, which then creates an emotion, which then creates perception. So it's inside out. The ego wants to tell you it's outside in.
Determines your perception.
It's inside
out. So your
out.
emotion actually determines. That's a very good diagram, this.
Yeah, it is. It's
very
it's a
clear.
Nice explanation of
very
how the mind works. Hi, Iona. And Lucy in the background there.
Hello.
How are you? welcome. We're just having another look at this.
Hello, beautiful Fanon girls.
Yeah, lovely. How's everything? Do you want to do a quick check-in, or are you okay?
Yeah, we're good. We've just been dancing. We had to go and dance, and it was really amazing experience.
So,
Yeah, on the beach.
Well, we were dancing in the garden today,
Okay.
and it was really an amazing experience.
Yeah,
A
you
lot,
both look.
lot of emotion.
Okay. Was this a memorial for someone?
No, it's every week.
Oh, okay.
It's every week at around the time that this starts.
Right.
So I haven't been for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but it was always a weekly occurrence.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And so anyone can join in.
Anybody? It's called Blessed
Yeah.
Dancing.
Yeah.
A huge amount of
definitely
rolling around on the ground together, crawling, and it was
very, very freeing. So you get to be a kid again, just kind of let it all go.
yeah. It was
wonderful to do.
Letting it all go. It was just particularly powerful today for me.
So do they sort of they play music, obviously, or not?
Yeah, there's a woman who's a dancer herself, and she curates these playlists every week.
Yes.
She's done 65 blessed dances now or something like that, and it's just been every week.
Amazing.
Lockdown last year, we were dancing in the snow and the wind and the rain, sunshine, people dancing naked, barefoot today. Amazing. Wow. I know.
I also do that.
Very wild. Yeah. So.
Sounds like an amazing place to have that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I can just feel it.
Everyone's in. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to the workshop.
Oh yes, I'm definitely in. I'm going to make a plan. I'm there.
Amazing.
I've been to Ireland before, and I loved it, but not fun.
Okay. So we were gonna actually just run through this quickly. Do you want to do that, or should we just move into the lesson?
No, I like this. Do you want us to mute while we're just moving around a little bit? Are you happy that I do that? Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay then.
So the easiest way is to do it, by example, so it's not theoretical. So would anyone like to use anything that's going on in your life to do this exercise, or
I've already done. I've done my exercise with you, Jono, which was the one we did the other night.
Yeah. Well, you can do it again.
That was what.
You can do it again with this if you want, or not. It's up to you. It's quite a valuable exercise, this actually. So
it is, but I have an outcome. See if Iona or Lucy have got something kind of pressing.
Let's ask Corin. Corin, you still there? Do you want to work through anything?
No, I'm good, thank you. I'm just here in the background, listening and learning. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No one's stepping up. If you like, I can stop the recording. That's possible if you don't want this to be recorded.
Yeah, stop it because it is very
if you're going to do this,
confidential.
So we don't have to do the recording. We can restart it once we go into the lesson. Let's ask Lucy. Lucy, did you do this exercise the other day?
No.
Were you there in that session? We did a long session on Friday night, I think.
Oh, you missed it.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is not being recorded. You need to know that.
Well, it is now, but I can stop the recording. If you like to do this, because it's useful to do it with an example. So you work through it and you give an example and you just type it in, and then it takes you through this process.
Yeah.
Learn for peace. So then it becomes specific and applicable to a situation. So It's entirely up to you. But if you'd like to do it with a situation, then it does illustrate quite well how the process works.
Let me just get a little sip of water, and I'll just have a little think for a second.
Think about it. Yeah. Okay.
I'm also going to get some water.
So really, this just frames in a diagrammatic format, and then there's an exercise with it that frames it in a Course in Miracles terms. It says, okay, so this is actually what you're doing. This is what the miracle is about, and it takes you through a process to facilitate this. So you can use this worksheet to work through anything. I've sent it out. You have it, and it's a fillable PDF. So you put in a situation in here. So when I think about, I'll use my example if no one else wants to, so that we have a practical real life example to go on, because it's very helpful. It's not theoretical. It's like, yeah, this is applicable to life situations. Let's ask Lucy if she's had any thoughts.
I have.
Yeah.
Yay.
Anything in your life you want
Yeah.
to work through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Should we do it?
Okay.
I can stop the recording if you prefer me to. Or you?
We're live.
Yeah.
Maybe
We are at the moment.
maybe stop the recording. I'm not sure where it's going to go. Good.
Yeah, well, it's on YouTube, so people. I don't think I have masses of people who watch, but I suppose one never knows. So let me just stop the live stream. Do you mind if it goes to because I'm recording on my phone, so it goes to the community, just to the WhatsApp group. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
I'll just stop.